2 minutes and 2 minutes and counting. I know we have a couple people online. We're going to give it a couple minutes for others to join. This is my sound check, my vid check for my AV partner expert who's just upstairs. Today is the day that we here in Vermont at Salt and Sand Studios continued our efforts toward holiday decorating. We picked up a tree this morning, benefiting Harwood High School at the Rue Farm. And no relationship whatsoever to our hip hip hooray theme today, where we're going to open up the hips, working toward either pigeon or supine figure 4 on your back of figure 4. And it looks like we are here. Thank you, and ready to go. And 1 more minute. So I'll take that minute to say thanks for participating. Thanks for your donations when you have them. Thanks for sharing this with others. And thanks, most importantly, for practicing. Every time we practice on the mat, it gives ourselves an opportunity to take that off the mat and into the world. However small our world may have gotten, the kindness and compassion that we show for ourselves, the working, the right effort, the right thought, the right words, the right actions on your mat translate, because what we practice, we put into play. What we practice, we master. So today, maybe consider what your choice is. What would you like to master? And therefore, what would you like to practice? Something like bitterness or anger, or something like compassion and forgiveness. Okay, we're going to get started with hip hip hooray. It is 11:01. My name is Karen, coming to you from Salt and Sand Studios in Vermont. This is our Try This at Home Yoga Intermissions series. Great to have you. If you have a Nancy pillow, or if you don't have a friend named Nancy, maybe you have another pillow, grab that if you find you need it, or a blanket can suffice as well. Welcome to Hip Hip Hooray. We're together for 50 minutes. We're going to start with a hand gesture, a mudra, called the Trishula mudra, or the mudra of unity. And oddly, you might recognize it sort of as the Boy Scout hand gesture, except for the way we orient the hand. So we're going to take the pinky fingers, curl them toward the thumbs, take the thumbs to the backs of the pinky fingers, and then as much as possible, it's not quite possible on my right hand, straighten the other fingers. Now you see why it feels like the Boy Scout mudra. We're going to place the palms upward and rest the hands maybe really close to the hip creases, because we're practicing our hip hip hooray today. Hip hip hooray! Or you draw the hands closer to the knees. But that doesn't mean we hunch over. We gather the belly in and up, draw the tailbone forward and down, and squeeze, little teeny squeeze of the shoulders, shoulder blades behind you. Chin might be a little bit tucked so you can press the back of the head behind you, and the gaze could be downward and forward, or maybe the eyes are all the way closed. This is the mudra of unity. It's related to the very center of your forehead, and maybe there, as you start to breathe, you can begin to feel a little bit of a balance in the breath. Equal breath in and out. Maybe even create a count for it. Breathing in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe out for 4, 3, 2, 1 for 6. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Out, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 for 8. In, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Exhale, 8. Big, huge breath in. Release it out your mouth. Return to a natural breath, and now see if You can conjure up a little light at your center forehead, right behind the forehead, inside the head. Maybe it's a bright white light. Maybe it has color. Go ahead and spread that light into the right side of the brain. Same, activating the left side of the brain, finding balance, which creates or establishes the foundation for intuition, for wisdom. Release your mudra, spread the fingers wide, and then bring the thumbs into the palm and make fists of the hand so you're wrapping the fingers around your thumbs. And then spread the whole palm and fingers nice and wide. Reach the arms out to the sides, breathe in. Exhale, reach, reach, reach. Imagine you're getting wider in the room. Fingers could almost touch whatever wall is nearest. Inhale, float the arms high overhead. Press your palms together there. Maybe your chin lifts. We pause here on a breath out to get really long on the side bodies, under the arms, even as we're drawing the front lowest ribs toward the hips. Breathe in. Exhale, hands together at your heart. This is our hip hip hooray session in our yoga intermission series. If you would like to focus your intention or motivation there, feel free. Otherwise, establish another intention or take a moment to consider what motivated you to get on your mat today. We'll imagine we could fill our space with those good intentions, with that motivation, using the sound of Om. Huge breath in through the nose. We'll meet in a child's pose, coming face down on the mat. Knees nice and wide. Big toes touch. Forehead is connected to something. That could be the backs of your hands or the mat or maybe a prop if you have one. I will meet you there. I'll meet you there. Imagine now that breath from the center of your forehead could come to the back of the head and make its way all the way down to your tailbone. And now allow that light and the breath to spread across the sacrum, the little flat part of the back. Long breath in and out. Forearms come parallel on the mat. So you might draw the elbows inward a little bit. And then we lift the sitting bones away from the heels and bring the knees right under the hips and the feet as wide only as the knees. Here we're going to spread the fingers wide. Imagine that we're lifting the center of the palm away from the earth. We're going to find a little cat shape. Breathing out to draw the belly in and up, rounding the spine, drop the head, drop the tailbone. Inhale for a forearm cow shape or maybe a neutral spine if your low back is a little tricky today. Exhale to cat. Inhale to cow. And one more round, cat. And cow. You press back to a neutral spine, making space between the shoulders, and one hand at a time comes underneath your shoulders. Super powered up and strong. We're going to inhale, extend the right leg long behind, press the top of the foot into the earth. Balance out the hips using that Trishula of energy and keeping the belly and the right quads and hamstrings and glutes activated. Lift the right foot off the floor. Point the toes down. Breath in and out. Bend the knee as if you're going to step on the sky, and really slowly with super active glutes, work the knee up and down. It might not go very far. On an exhale, draw the knee to the nose. Inhale, extend the leg. And drop the knee down to the mat. We'll take that to the other side. Left leg extends, top of the foot is on the earth. Find your balance, find the activation, all in the bottom and the hamstrings and the glutes. That is your bottom. And the quads. Float the leg off the mat. Inhale. Point the toes to the earth. Inhale. Bring the knee to the nose. Exhale. Inhale, extend the leg. Bend the knee like you're tickling the clouds with your toes and pump the leg up and down once more. Inhale, leg long. Exhale, knee to the earth. We're going to walk the hands forward 2 inches. We won't take a lot of vinyasas or down dogs today, but we're going to start in a down dog, the more active part of the practice. Tuck your toes under. Shift your sitting bones toward your heels. Then float the knees off the mat. Gather the belly in and up. Big breath in. As you exhale, down dog. The heels come toward the earth, but it's a direction, not a destination. Maybe you pedal into your feet. Breath in, rise up to the tiptoes. Breath out, bend your knees, look past your hands, and walk to the hands for a forward fold at the front of your mat. Feet are parallel to the outer edges of the mat. Head is heavy. Let's just take a little sway, dragging the fingertips along the mat, feeling the texture of the mat. Nice juicy bend in your knees. Pause for stillness and press your way to standing into mountain pose. Hands by the side so the arms hang heavy from the shoulders. Tuck your tailbone. Inhale, sweep your arms high overhead. Exhale, forward fold into your hips. Inhale, half lift. Hands might come to the shins. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, float all the way to standing. Arms reach high. Exhale, cactus arms. One at a time, the hands drop behind your bottom or low back. Collarbones get super wide. Keep the belly active, but imagine even from the top of the pelvis to the sternum is getting long. You're drawing the low ribs toward the hips. Sit down into chair, modified. Imagine that the thighs are spinning toward each other and use the belly. Rise up to the balls of the feet. Sink the sitting bones behind and down. Keep spinning those thighs inward. Heels down, forward fold. Maybe your hands stay where they are, or maybe they float from your back. Nod the head and shake the head. Big breath in. Exhale, hands drop. Half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, forward fold, our vinyasa. We step back for a high plank where we pause for a moment, finding extension. Maybe then shoulders shift forward, knees drop, or you can come into your low plank with knees off the mat. Find your way into a back bend. It might be very small. Exhale, downward dog. A breath in and a breath out. On an inhale, right leg floats off the mat. As we exhale, we send the shoulders forward and tap the knee toward the right tricep. Inhale, extend the leg. We're going to come to a modified runner's lunge, stepping the right foot outside the right hand. You might need to move things around to make that happen. So normally the foot is inside the hands. This time we've sent it a little wider. Press into the left heel to extend the left leg. Breathe in. Exhale, extend the front leg and fold. You might not unbend that knee very far. Inhale, come forward. Modified runner's lunge. Exhale, extend and fold. Inhale, come forward. Exhale, back knee drops to the earth, toes untuck. Left hand stays down. Right arm either floats high, so fingers toward the sky, or maybe the heel of the hand. Is that your low back, a twist? Next, exhale, hands inside your right foot. Point the right toes to the right. We're going to take a little lizard twist. We're not moving into full lizard at this time. The hand comes inside the right knee, a twist over the right shoulder. You're pressing the knee away. Belly slightly active, and the left glutes work for you as well. If you'd like more challenge, you can tuck your back toes under and lift the back knee off the earth. Right hand returns to the earth, right toes point forward. If you don't have the left knee lifted, make that happen. We come back into a three-legged dog, sweeping the right leg nice and high. And the foot returns to the earth. And now the right hip, right leg and left leg might feel a little different. Find your breath. Inhale, left leg floats off the mat. As you exhale, shoulders come forward over the wrists, left knee toward the left tricep. Inhale, extend the leg. Exhale, left foot steps outside the left hand. Modified runner's lunge. Stretch that right leg nice and long. Hands under your shoulders, breathe in. Exhale, extend the left leg, fold down. Inhale, peel forward, modified runner's lunge. Exhale, extend and left knee and fold. Inhale, come forward, modified runner's lunge. Back knee drops, right hand down, twist to the left. Maybe the left arm is reaching high to the sky, or perhaps the heel of the hand is on the low back. Exhale, left hand to the earth. Point the left toes to the left. We'll find our lizard twist once again, pressing the palm of the left hand inside the left knee to send it away from you. Maybe back toes tuck under, and we float the right knee off the earth. Exhale, left hand to the earth. We come back to our three-legged dog, leg lifted. And exhale, left foot to the earth. Inhale, float the right leg off the mat. Exhale, we come into warrior one, back heel to the mat. I'm going to take cactus arms. It feels a little better on my shoulder. Forearms draw together, zip them up. Step into a chair pose, Utkatasana. Maybe this time the big toes touch, maybe they do not. Inhale, sweep high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, your choice to step back and go right to downward dog or move through a vinyasa. I'm going to take a plank and move right to downward dog. Float the left leg off the mat. Find your warrior one on this side. Forearms draw together from cactus. And once more, we step into chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, sweep to standing. Breathe out, forward fold. Half lift. Exhale, hands plant. We step the left foot way to the back of the mat, runner's lunge, this time with the right foot inside the right hand. Maybe a modification or adjustment before you drop your back knee to the earth to come into your half split. Right leg long in front, and a fold over the right knee. No competition, no reward for over-efforting in your fold. Right foot plants on the earth. Hands creep forward a little bit. Back toes tuck under to lift the hips and find Parsvottanasana, pyramid pose. I'm going to pick up my blocks for that. If you have maybe a cushion, you could put that at the front. Draw the right hip behind you. And move the blocks or the hands or the cushion forward a little bit. Bend a little in the right knee and send the weight into the right foot to float the left leg high. Maybe a half split or modified split. And open up the left hip toward the left side of the mat. I'm going to step back to find a warrior two. Bring the back foot parallel to the back of the mat. Hip opener, not a back bend. We really work the tailbone down and the hips parallel to the sides of the mat. I'm bending my left elbow because my left shoulder is a little wonky today. The right knee moves away from the midline. You got to use both the adductors and the abductors to make that happen. Flip your front palm, reverse the warrior. Warrior two, hands to your hips, extend your front leg. Spin on your right heel to let both sets of toes face the left side of the mat. Now I'm going to turn the heels in and the toes out, coming into a goddess pose. Also known as temple, depending on what your preference is. Hands come to the hips, press the hips high. Bring the heels back out and the toes in, fold halfway down. I like to keep my fingertips in the hip crease to remind me that I'm hinging from the hips rather than folding from the waist. Shoulders toward the hips, back strong, so draw the belly in. And if it feels okay, we drop further down into Prasarita Padottanasana, your wide-legged forward fold, using all the parts of the feet that are attached to the mat. Press the floor away, lift the hips high. Let the head hang. This time we're going to spin over toward the left foot and point the left foot toward the back of the mat, coming onto the ball of the right foot. Drop the back knee to take the half split from here. Parsvottanasana, front foot, left foot plants on the earth, back toes tuck under to lift the hips, and the back foot might hike up the mat. I did not advise you to bring your luggage with you, so if you need to shift out of this to find your blocks or your cushion, feel free. Hands creep forward of the left toes, left knee bends a little bit so you can float the right leg high as standing split. Open up the hips in your split And step the right foot back, returning to a warrior two, this time with a bent left knee. Front palm flips, reverse the warrior. Heart lifts toward the sky. Warrior two. Hands to your hips, extend your left leg. Dial the left toes toward the side of the mat, so both sets of toes point to the long edge of the mat, of the earth. The long edge of the earth. Lift the arms nice and high, 5-pointed star. Fortify the thighs and the glutes. Activate the hamstrings. Hands to your heart. We're going to spin on the right heel to face the toes forward, come to the ball of the back foot once again, and step the back foot up to meet the front. Samasti Tahi. Hands sweep high overhead. Breathe out, forward fold. Halfway lift, long flat spine. Exhale, hands plant. Heel toe the feet outward so that they are outside the pinky fingers. Then glide the left foot to the back of the mat once again, a modifier's lunge. I'm going to move into lizard, dropping the back knee down. Heel toe the right foot out to the right. And then peel the foot open like a book. You might stay here. This might be plenty. I like to lift my back knee off the earth so I can then place it back down above the kneecap. And depending on what the body calls for, the hands might stay underneath the shoulders, or maybe the hands walk forward so the forearms come to the mat or block. Space between the shoulder blades. Hands plant under the shoulders. We bring the sole of the right foot to the earth. Remove any proppage. We're going to move into prayer squat, Malasana. Now stepping the left foot outside the left hand. Dropping the bottom. Maybe a little left and right movement into the feet and the hips. Hands come to the heart. Spine gets as long as you can make it. Hands to the earth. This time the right foot steps to the back of the mat. Knee drops. Toes and heel of the left foot come parallel. Then we peel the foot open like a book. Once again, this might be where you stay, bringing the hands underneath the shoulders, or maybe the hands walk forward until the forearms can come to the earth or prop. Hands plant underneath the shoulders. Then we come to tabletop. And we're going to bring the knees together, the inner shins together, the big toes together, and sit back on our heels to find our way into a back bend. If Ustrasana Camel is part of your practice and you can take it safely, feel free to move into that. I'm going to take a less strenuous approach to the back bend today. So we're working a little bit of quad opening. We've done some hamstring work. We've done some hip work. We've done some shoulder work. Now we're going to open up the heart a little bit before we find our way into our more seated posture. So we're going to kneel Or as I like to say sometimes, stand on our knees. You might tuck your toes under. That might give you a little more stability, or maybe it's no stability at all for you. I'm going to separate my knees just a little bit. Heels of the hands draw to the lower back. We use the fingers and the heels of the hands to press the fleshy part downward and shift the hips forward. We're not jutting the rib cage out, but simply moving the hips forward to activate the quads and the glutes. Now we begin to lift the space between the sternum and the pelvic bone. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Open up the collarbones and drop the shoulders. If you have more to work with, feel free. You can take that whole sequence over again. You might even have enough to work with to slowly and carefully drop a hand to a heel and float the right arm, the opposite arm high. Really working the heart toward the sky as if you yourself are lighting up the sun. You recognize wherever you are today might be, the sun might be obscured, obfuscated. And if you have taken it to one side, you'll take it to the other side. We'll meet in the kneeling posture. Send the feet wider than the hips and drop the sitting bones toward the heels. For some, that might mean your seat comes all the way to the earth. For others, maybe you need a block or a blanket underneath you. We're going to find our way into one more back bend from here. Taking either the hands to the ankles and heels, maybe the fingertips outside the little toes, maybe the heels of the hands to the bridge of the foot, or maybe the fingertips into that arch of the foot. And again, we come back, we tilt the tailbone forward first to keep long in the low back. Lift the front body, so make the front body nice and long. We start to roll the shoulders behind you, squeezing the shoulder blades together. Now imagine there's an amazing string of starlight lifting your heart up to light all the stars in the sky. So tonight the sky is really bright and beautiful. Drop the head behind you, open up the collarbones, breathe. Maybe you have enough work in the glutes and the quads to lift them a little more and the sitting bones away from the earth. And we drop the sitting bones, gather the belly in, slowly stack the shoulders over the hips. Remove any prop you might have. And come to your seat to make our way into a twist before we work into our final hip opening sequence. We're going to go ahead and take let's bring the left leg long on the earth. The sole of the right foot onto the earth. Twist this time is over the right shoulder. A breath in makes you tall. A breath out, a twist. Inhale, get tall. Exhale, twist. 2 more rounds of breath. Loosen the right shoulder. Inhale, draw through to center. We're going to drop the right knee out to the right, or if you have a half lotus, feel free to take the right heel in toward the left hip. Janu Shavasana, or half lotus with a fold. The fold is the heart reaching toward the left shin, working to maintain a nice long spine, so you might not get very close to the shin. Inhale, rise up. Extend the right leg onto the earth. Sit up nice and tall. Glide the sole of the left foot onto the earth. Right toes point to the sky. And we take a twist over the left shoulder. The left hand's like a guide as opposed to a kickstand. We're not leaning into it. We're just using it to help stabilize What else stabilizes here? The belly helps stabilize. The sole of the left foot. The heel of the right. Still a hip, using all the muscles of the hip. That was an excellent quick sentence. Breathe in, get tall. Exhale, twist. Inhale, come through the center. Once again, the left knee drops outward, or maybe you take a half lotus with a fold, depending on your flexibility and your practice. I'm going to take a little bend in my right knee, reach the right side of the chest toward the right shin for a fold over the leg. Inhale, rise up. We extend both legs on the mat, now working an extension in the hamstrings, the complement of the quads. Maybe a tiny bend in the knees, or maybe something underneath your knees can be helpful here. We sit up super tall. Exhale, heart reaches forward, belly in and up to make real estate for your fold. Paschimottanasana. Seated, double-legged, forward fold. Inhale, rise up to your seat. Let the soles of the feet draw together and send your sitting bones as close to your heels as possible. It might work better for you to plant something underneath the knees. My hips are a little bit tight today. So providing a little resting spot, and we sit up. And if you'd like, maybe you peel the feet open like a book, round into the spine for a fold over your legs. On an inhale, gently rise up. Remove your props if you have them. But knowing if you need them for your pigeon, you will use them. If you tend to avoid pigeon facing downward, now's the time to move onto your back to take your supine figure 4. We're going to shift onto the right hip and swing the left leg around behind us. You're working to have the right shin parallel to the front of the mat, but that doesn't work for many. But make sure you take the time to float that left leg straight out of the hip. As you can see, I'm using my toes to lift the left knee off the mat and extend that leg. Ideally, the top of the right foot is on the earth. I have space between my right glutes and the mat, so I'm going to place a block underneath. Maybe you find a back bend and a quad stretch, or just a quad stretch here before finding your way into a fold over your legs. Head rests on something. This is the spot where sometimes stillness, or the idea of stillness, creates a lot of activity, a lot of judgment, a lot of lists, a lot of why can't my right hip do what I want it to. Relax the shoulder blades, let the head rest heavy, and breathe. Maybe notice again the space right behind the center forehead. Your chakra of wisdom. Maybe there's a light there that's connecting from the center forehead into whatever the head is resting on. providing an anchor, and then spreading that light as if you're spreading wisdom and intuition around you. We're taking our time in Pigeon today, finding the breath, maybe breathing toward the right hip crease, or maybe toward the right hamstring or glute, wherever you're feeling the stretch. Maybe allow the breath to get deeper and creating a balanced breath of equal duration, perhaps counting to 8 or 10 or 12 on the inhale and the exhale, or maybe it's a shorter breath, but seeing if you can extend it and balance it. Slowly on a breath in, plant the hands underneath the shoulders. Remove any prop that you might have. And you can come onto the right hip, swinging the left leg around and on top of the right. I'll be there with you in a second. My block was posing a small issue. Yeah, and now my mat is joining me. We're swinging the left shin above the right, finding stacked shins, or if you have a half lotus or a full lotus, you can take that here. Activating the toes toward the knees of the same leg. Stacked logs, perfect Vermont sort of idea or notion for the winter. If you have Gomakasana arms, if you would like to take a bind, feel free to do so. We're going to work our way back into bound angle pose, Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together again. We'll do this after the next round as well. So you can notice the change over time with the practice. My hips feel much more open now. So I'm going to bring the thumbs into the arches of the feet, peel the feet open like a book, which opens up the hips that much more. Nice long spine, and then we round, scooping the belly in. Elbows help drop the knees away and down. Drop your head. Inhale, rise up. This time we're going to shift onto the left hip, swinging the right leg behind. Here you move back into on your back if you do take supine figure 4. Stretching out that right leg, allowing the top of the left foot to be on the mat. Propping up your glutes if there's space between the left glutes and the earth. Maybe a back bend, maybe a little bit of a quad stretch before you find your way into your pigeon. I'm a little closer to the front of my mat now. Space between the shoulders and finding the breath, the light, the ease of effort that help you relax into the pose rather than prevent the pose, and breathe. Hands walk back under the shoulders. Remove any props. Find your way onto your left hip to sneak that right shin above the left, our last seated posture. Stacked logs, taking your time to find your place. Belly slightly in and up. Collarbones like the grinningst emoji. And we'll take that right knee, lift it toward the heart, place the sole of the foot on the earth. We'll help the left knee lift as well. Settling in for a moment in an upright posture, the soles of the feet onto the earth, palms on your kneecaps, lifting the heart and the belly, and slowly roll all the way to the earth. If you can, the arms will float high overhead. The backs of the hands come to the earth. That might mean a cactus shape for you, or a sort of floating, fingertips touching, elbows lift a little bit posture. We'll go ahead and bring the hands to the sides. Shift the sitting bones and the hips off the earth and over to the right, so you can drop all the way onto the left hip. You're going to stack your knees. Check in with the shoulder blades, let them kiss the earth, and the right hand can flop out, and maybe the gaze or just the nose follows that. For some in this twist, they'd like to keep the hand on the belly or the ribs or the outside of the right thigh. But you don't need to prod and push and effort it. You could just drop that left hand. Breathe in. Breathe out. One more full round of breath here. Return all the way onto your back, soles of the feet on the earth. Press the earth away with the feet and the shoulder blades to shift over to the left, and let the knees drop over to the right. You're coming all the way onto the right hip. Knees will stack as much as possible. Shoulder blades aim for the earth. So if they're not there, see if you can shift things around a little bit. Maybe the hips move toward the left a little bit more. Maybe the shoulders move a little bit to the right. Head turns, if it's possible, over the left shoulder. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. As you exhale, return all the way to the spine. Align it top to bottom so it's as straight as it would normally be. And draw the knees in toward the armpits. You're welcome to find a happy baby here, sending the soles of the feet to the sky with the knees bent outward. Hands come inside or outside the feet. And you rest the shoulder blades back toward the earth. It can feel really good to rock left and right. Or if this is difficult for you, you might just hug the knees into the heart and rock left and right. Huge breath in. Let it go. Let's find a yummy Shavasana posture. Maybe that's the soles of the feet on the earth. Maybe it's Supta Baddha Konasana. Or in the more traditional sense, legs extended on the mat, space between the feet. Shoulder blades settle in. Arms flop out, palms face to the sky. Huge breath in through the nose. Release any final tension. Aware now of all of the work your body did. Giving it a few moments, like with the Trishula mudra, a few moments to unify your practice. The body, the breath, the heart, mind. Shavasana. You're becoming aware once again of the body on the mat. And the power of your own light, your own prana, your life force. Intuition right behind the center of your forehead. Deep in the breath, find your way onto one side. Take your time. And once on your side, return to your intention or motivation. Recognizing that you have the power within yourself to make that a reality. Press yourself back to a seat. Finding Sukhasana, easy pose. Palms draw together at the heart, and we close as we began a chant of Om that could just be in your head or a sound of your breath. Some knuckles move to your third eye. May you trust your intuition, your wisdom, your own force. Namaste. A huge gratitude, heartfelt thanks to all of you for practicing today. Remember that this gets recorded, so you have a chance to practice it again. There are lots of options on the YouTube channel. My name is Karen. Thanks for working with Salt and Sand Studios. We come to you from Vermont. Please share this information with others, the link, the channel, the saltandSandstudios.com. Donate if you got it, like it, love it. Have a great week. Thank you.